Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Jansen Binman and today we are doing a book talk inspired makeup look from the Odyssey. As I was reading about the goddesses, it felt like we were talking about sand and sun so much. I wanted to do a really warm smoky eye, especially because it is towards the end of summer as well. And this would be a great one for a date night, or if you have a really fun get together during like lunchtime or something like that. It's not too bold that you wouldn't be able to wear it to work, but it's not so minimal that it doesn't feel like you didn't put on any makeup. So stay tuned. I've already washed my face and done my skincare, so now we're going to neutralize the face. We're going to start off with the NARS Tinted Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base, putting that on our ring fingers, splitting it between the other one, and just really lightly placing that on the skin and bringing that all the way up to our brow, just underneath where the hairs are. Making sure that there's no excess. If you have too much, it's so silicone-y that it could disrupt eyeshadow placement. You can do this with a brush if that feels a little bit better, but I like to do my fingers because I feel like it just blends in a little bit better. However, if you did get a little bit too much on your fingers because maybe it's a new bottle, then going in with a brush afterwards is a really good way to make sure that you don't have too much. Now I'm going to go in with my Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal Liner in black. This is amazing. It's so soft and it stays on all day. It is a dream. And just doing little dashes just to give the appearance of a thicker upper lash line. I'm going to go in a little bit later and do my lower lash line, but I want that to set first because her kajal liner, because it is a kajal liner, is a little bit more slippery. It doesn't immediately dry down like the Charlotte Tilbury or the Bobbi Brown, so I want it to dry down first before I go in with more. We're going to leave our eyes alone for a little bit and move on to complexion. So now I'm going to go in with Bobbi Brown Corrector in Bisque, again using my ring finger and just really lightly tapping that underneath, that under the eye area and a little bit into this inner corner where I get a little bit darker, especially if I haven't been sleeping well. So just neutralizing anywhere where it's a little bit darker, and always like flipping fingers, switching fingers if it feels like if my ring finger gets a little bit too saturated, and then I can always use the towel that I have down here off camera and just kind of wipe down my finger a little bit. Alright, because we are going in with quite a few eyeshadows, I don't want to do the rest of my complexion just in case there is a little fallout. I am using Uninterrupted from MAC, which is this really beautiful kind of caramel color, and that can get a little crazy sometimes, so we're just going to leave that. We're going to leave the rest of our complexion alone, and I think I am going to do my brows first just so I give that kajal liner a little extra time. So I'm going to comb through the brow hair and using my brow definer from ANASTASIA, just finding any gaps and going in the same direction that my hair is naturally going, and just very quickly filling that in. If you have to draw in a large portion of your brow, then you probably want to wait until your complexion is done. Otherwise, you're going to be blending it away once you put on your foundation. Now we're going to jump right into the eyeshadow. So I'm going to use my 201 from BK Beauty. I'm going to mix soft brown and cork together just on the tip of the brush, and I'm just going to start defining the eye from that outer third. using windshield wiper motions and not pressing too hard. When you're using a fluffy brush, don't press too hard, otherwise that kind of negates the idea of using a fluffy brush. The idea is just to start to define your bone structure a little bit. You can wipe down on your towel. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about with a towel, I did post a video on how to clean your brushes in several ways. So I talk about what my setup is down here in that video, which I will make sure I link below. Same thing on the other side, windshield wiper motions, going a little bit short of halfway in, and just making sure that we're getting into that socket. And then blending those edges. Soft brown, uninterrupted, those can be kind of potent colors, especially if you are fair, on the fair side. So we want to make sure that everything is nice and soft, especially for a look like this where we are mixing quite a few browns. 217 into uninterrupted. I can always use something like a bronzer and take down some of this warmth if I feel like I need to. I am wearing a lot of blue today, but I think it's going to be a nice contrast between the two. Normally I would say go with the tone of what you're wearing, but sometimes, especially when you're playing with neutrals, sometimes it is kind of fun to do the opposite and then it really pops on its own. So if you're wearing something like I'm wearing a denim jacket, a maxi dress that has kind of a subdued pattern, it's okay to play a little bit more with your makeup. If your blouse or your top, whatever's closest to the face, if that is really supposed to be kind of the hero, then you should definitely help that hero item with your makeup. You should support it. But if everything is kind of like nothing's really popping as the hero, then your makeup can become the hero and you can do a really fun lip look, or you can do a really beautiful, fun eye as well. Alright, so just making sure that everything is equal. I can tell I need a little bit more on the side to kind of balance out over here. And it's just kind of going back and forth, and making sure that everything is nice and equal. It's always a good idea just to take a step back. I have a mirror off camera over here that is kind of farther away, and then I can use a compact mirror here. If you are just in a bathroom and using one mirror, then sometimes it's nice to look away from the mirror and then look back, and you will see things that you hadn't noticed before. It just gives your brain a chance to relax a little bit and then full attention back on what it's doing. So that's kind of nice. You can even just like look down, clean your brush down here, and then when you look back up, you will notice if you're off symmetrically or something like that. I'm going to take a little bit of Cork, still on my 217, and I'm just going to bring that in a little bit because I do want this eye to be a little bit more focused on the medium browns. I don't necessarily want it to be quite so poppy. You can also use a cream shadow as a base. Victoria Beckham, again, has a really beautiful one. I almost used that one this morning. And then you can build it up with shadows if you want to, if that's your jam. Alright, I'm going to just really quickly clean off my 201 and go back again into Cork and soft brown and just kind of soften the edges of Uninterrupted. If you have a lot of space from the crease of your eye up to your eyebrow, this is a really great way to make sure that your eyeshadow is seen, especially once your eye relaxes. You can also pop a little bit of a lighter color underneath there and make sure that that really pops. If you don't have that space, don't worry about it. Your focus is going to be more into the crease or the socket than it is above. And I'm just going to take my finger and make sure that nothing has really dropped before going in with eyeliner. Now you can go in with a dark chocolate brown, that would be really pretty, or you can go in with a black. I have a little bit of black on my belt that I'm wearing today and a little bit of black in the design, so that's what I'm going to go for. Plus I really want the longevity. It's been quite warm here, and I feel like I just need a little bit of that extra staying power. Just softening my liner with my finger just a little bit, especially on that inner corner. And don't be afraid to use your brushes, your fingers, any of your tools at different angles to give you a different look. A little bit of shadow underneath the eyes, but first I'm going to do my concealer, because otherwise I'm just going to be wiping away work. So this is definitely an eye look. It is kind of eye intense. There's not too many shadows. It's just a lot of kind of going back in and making sure that everything is symmetrical, and just taking a little extra time on that area of the face that you really want to pop. I'm just using my dual fiber because I want it to be really nice and light. I can always go back in with my finger and make sure that everything is nice and blended. Before I go in with more eyeshadow, I am going to just set that really quickly. Even though I haven't done foundation, I'm just putting powder. I'm just putting powder right where I put the product, so I'm not putting powder anywhere else, so I think it's totally fine. Alright, going back in with soft brown and Cork, and just squinting my eyes a little bit to get that pop, that extra pop of a lid underneath. Wiping my brush down. Just making that really, really nice and soft. And then we can go in with mascara and finish off the eye look, and then we're just going to slam the rest of the face because we spent quite a bit of time on the eyes. Going in with the 3D Maximizer from Dior, because I do want my lashes to be able to stand up against this really nice warm daytime smoky eye. And then going in with Bobbi Brown Smokey Eye Mascara. Making sure all parts of the lashes are coated. So the eyes are almost done. We are going to put a little bit of another Victoria Beckham liner on, and this is called Smoky Quartz. It's very similar to one by Bobbi Brown, but I like this one better. Yeah, whoever designed these satin Kajal pencils did a phenomenal job, and that just creates that extra bit of smokiness. And even though this is more of a daytime eye, I think it still works, especially once we get the rest of the complexion done. So let's get going. This is number 9 from Lisa Eldridge. I'm going to do like 1.5 pumps because I am having quite a bit of redness on my cheeks right now just from being sick. And you know, when you are sick, you don't sleep as well. So the skin behaves a little bit differently, even if you're doing a really good job taking care of it. And I'm just really kind of bouncing my brush, blending out the edges, putting a little bit on my forehead, and then grabbing whatever is left and bringing that down into the neck and onto the décolleté. Now we're going to go in with a little bit of powder just to set everything although I do find that Lisa's foundation kind of sets itself, so you might not need to powder, but I am going to go in with a few more powder products, and I feel like that just makes a little bit of sense. I'm going to go in with Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk, just really, really lightly. This is another product that can get kind of potent quickly, so I just want to make sure that everything is in balance. And then we're going to go in with our bronzer using BK Beauty bronzer brush, and just kind of doing that bronze contour. When you're playing with really warm browns, it's nice. It's a nice complement to that, to have that bronze, that kind of bronzy contour going on. It just makes sense, and it's the summer. It's the end of summer. Go for it. Soon enough, it will be fall. All right. See, everything is making so much more sense now as we continue to layer on products. I'm going to use Lisa's highlighter, just a few dots, and then I'm going to go back in with my Duo Fiber, almost using it like a finger. But I do want a little bit of that glow, especially because we're kind of being inspired by all of the goddesses from the Odyssey. Although none of them are very nice, are they? That's all right. And then we are going to go in with Kitten, Mischief, and Songbird. When I'm doing more of a neutral lip, I like to start with Kitten, Mischief first and then go in with the gloss. I feel like the longevity is a little bit more. And then pop that gloss into my bag throughout the day so that I can continue that coloration up. And that is the tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching this book talk tutorial. When I was thinking about the goddesses from the Odyssey, I knew I wanted to do something kind of sandy and earthy, because even though some of them are living on Mount Olympus, it just felt right to not do something blue or cool. It felt, because they were always talking about the sandy beaches and laying out in the sun, it felt more appropriate to go with something a little bit warmer. So I do fashion videos every Wednesday, beauty videos every Friday. I hope you enjoyed this one. Give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!